So I'm going to talk about NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo, what is it? And a little bit about my journey with it and why I'm doing it. So that's what today's video is about. So stay tuned. Hi everyone, this is Jenny from A Journey with Jenny. And today I am overcoming my fears. Doing something that actually is a little bit uncomfortable for me, and I can feel it. My heart is beating a little bit fast right now. So I'm going to vlog every single day for the next 35 days about my journey to become a published author. Hi, hello. And I'm already getting distracted within the first 5 minutes of doing this. That's so funny. Okay, so this is day one vlog. I'm going to vlog for the next 35 days about this goal of mine that I've set, and I am staying completely focused on it right now, not allowing distractions anymore to get me derailed, and instead I am being very present right here and sharing this journey and this messy middle. Whatever happens at the end of these 35 days is whatever happens. And I hope that I do reach my goal of publishing my book and having it in a stage where it is indeed ready to go out to the masses. But if it's not, at least I would have gone a lot further in these 35 days that if I don't have this focus, energy, this intention, and this extra accountability that I'm putting in place, which I can feel in my heart. I'm just like, oh, doing this really forces me to focus. And that's kind of what this book is about. You know, this book is about focus, clarity, knowing ourselves, being committed to ourselves, paying ourselves first, and really setting up our lives in a way where our foundations are indeed set. You know, our values, our morals, our daily habits are set so that our life works. And it works, like all parts of our life work. So I'm going to talk about NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo, what is it? And a little bit about my journey with it and why I'm doing it. NaNoWriMo is short for National Novel Writing Month. NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. So NaNoWriMo is something that kind of fell into my life serendipitously back in 2018. So it's been 2 years now that I have been involved with NaNoWriMo. But since, even though 2018 was like the first year I heard about it, technically it's 3 years because it's 2018, 2019, 2020. So 3 NaNoWriMos. So this is my third NaNoWriMo, and I don't know, maybe a different video I'll go more in depth in this. I don't know when NaNoWriMo started. I don't know who started it. I'm not as familiar with the history of NaNoWriMo, but from my experience with NaNoWriMo so far, what I love is there is a website. So if you go to nanowrimo.org, they have set up a whole infrastructure, a whole movement online that brings together authors, storytellers, people who are wanting to write a novel. And every year in November, people come together and share on NaNoWriMo what the goal is. What are they writing? And then connecting with other people who are also working on their own goals, whether they're writing a book like I've been, or whether it's, I have a friend who's currently writing a blog article every single day and building that. Other people write poems or short stories or Maybe it's a way for just not for any purpose except to write every single day. So there's all sorts of reasons why people might be joining NaNoWriMo. And what I love is that the NaNoWriMo website, it has different components to it. So when you enter, you can see what your goal is and how much progress you've made. So what I love is that every single day, I can log on to nanowrimo.org and I can put in how many words do I have total now. And the average length of a novel is 50,000 words. So if you write that that's what your goal is, and you kind of say how much progress you have, it helps you calculate, how many words per day do you have to write until you get to the point of reaching your goal. And you can set your goal and you can, set your dates kind of, and it is under the assumption that, you plan to do it in these 30 days. NaNoWriMo has a website, and what I love is that there are a community of people who are so passionate about it. NaNoWriMo must have been running for quite a while, because I think I met somebody who said that she's done it for like 10 years in a row, and every year she's kind of written a book and she's published it. So she has this whole series of books that she's published now. So what I love is that it can be, potentially for some people, it can become a career. Maybe some people have used it as their way of writing a book every year, and maybe that's the career path they have. For a lot of people, it might just be something for fun. It's a passion project. Maybe you're working a job, a normal 9 to 5, and then every year during the NaNoWriMo, you're writing like a sci-fi novel or like a romance novel, and you just put it out there in the world. Maybe it's even under a pen name, so nobody even knows that it's you. So I've seen all sorts of people do all sorts of really cool things with NaNoWriMo. So for me, in year one, it was 2018. What had inspired me to even notice or join NaNoWriMo was in October. I remember I went to visit a friend of mine in New York, and I just remember sharing about what I've been going through and my journey of running my marathons and the different continents I'd run marathons, because at that time that year I had just finished running in Antarctica, and I just remember all the healing that I went through, all the lessons that I learned, all the just who I became as a result of having done all my marathons and traveled to the places that I traveled to. So I remember as I was just sharing about my mindset about what I was doing and why I was doing it, my friend stopped me and was like, "Jenney, you have to write a book about this." And I was just like, nah. And my friend was insistent, "You need to write a book about this." And proceeded to pull books from this other author. I can't remember what the author wrote about, but the author wrote a whole series of books about things that that person had dealt with. And I just remember thinking, you know what, if these people could share about their lives and it's been helpful to somebody like my friend who has the whole series of the book, I wonder if there indeed are people like me who could benefit from what I've already gone through, and for me to share it, because I really realized I love sharing my stories. I love sharing other people's stories. I think I'm just a natural storyteller, and I love the little spark. I love the little spark that people can get sometimes when they're inspired by something, inspired by a story, to recognize, wow, I could do that too. Maybe that's possible in my life. Maybe this is something that I can do as well in my life. And when my friend kind of planted the seed of the book in my head, I was very hesitant. And at the same time, it was an idea that all of a sudden took its own roots. And what had happened is I had 2 friends who posted on Facebook, "Who's doing NaNoWriMo? I'm writing another short story this year. I write these romantic dramas." And I was like, "I didn't know you did that." I was like, "That's so cool. I read romantic dramas." So all of a sudden, here came the availability for a mechanism that was going to help support this potential vision of mine, that it wasn't really something that maybe I thought of or came up with, but all of a sudden presented itself. And um, and then to be in community, to be with other people who were also going to be on this journey, so that I didn't feel so alone. What's really cool is that pre-COVID, because this was 2018 when I first did it, and in 2019, there used to be meetups. So online, there would be calendars, and people would meet up in coffee shops, at libraries, and get together and actually write together, and have little contests. So having these like sprint sessions. So kind of this Pomodoro technique of people talking about what was their goal, what was their book about, and kind of getting to know one another. And then either like to just get a jump start, they might say a prompt. So maybe it could be just a word like holidays, or it could be a prompt like what was your first memory of like third grade, and then setting like let's say a 10-minute sprint, and then everybody just write as much as they can, and then whoever maybe was just able to free flow and write the most in that time could actually win like a little prize, like win some stickers or a little notebook or something like that. So I went to several of these kinds of meetups, and I just remember like loving the energy, because I didn't have other people in my life who were writing or creative in this way. And all of a sudden, so I had connected with a couple of different friends in Boston who were interested in writing, and we met up. So some of the favorite things that I did was like meeting up with like a friend, and she was already working on a book, and so we would meet up and just share with each other what our goals were, what we'd already gone about in getting to that point. So for the first year, 2018, I remember like every single day journaling about it, and I have here like I finished 50,000 words for NaNoWriMo, like woohoo! Like this was Friday, November 30th, 2018. And I just remember like I woke up in the morning, I did my miracle morning, I have it in my notes here. I called my BFF, and then I went to work, and I just remember thinking like, wow, I wrote 50,000 words. Now that book, that novel back in 2018, it's one that I've had to press pause on, because it is about Journey with Jenney. It's about the marathons I was running. But because of COVID, there's some wrenches have been thrown into that chapter of my life, that journey of my life of running all 7 marathons on 7 continents. Back in 2018, I was still on track, but in 2019, which in my next video I'll share about it, in 2018, I wrote 50,000 words, Journey with Jenney, and I was just, I did it. So in 2019, I was back in Boston again. Wow, I was back in Boston. Wouldn't have thought that. Definitely would have thought that. No, I wasn't back. No, I wasn't. I was in LA. Yeah. So, but last year, 2019, I am writing 10,000 Miles to Clarity. And at that time in November 2019, I had just driven across the country, first time by myself in February of 2019. And then I was deciding between San Francisco and LA, and kind of already chose LA. Then I had to come back to Boston, and then go through a series of, things I had to get prepared, and then I went back to LA again in May of 2019. So twice in 2019, I drove across country. And what's very interesting is that, in 2019, I wrote, so in 2018, I wrote 50,010 words for Journey with Jenney. In 2019, I wrote 55,633 words for 10,000 Miles to Clarity. And in that book, they say that your first draft, the first rough draft, is for the author. So for me, the book I wrote last year, 10,000 Miles to Journey, was really for me, because when my editor shared with me, she reviewed my book and she said, Jenney, you need your book to cook a little bit longer. You're not as proactive as you need to be in this book. You kind of say that you're going to help people find, a path to clarity, and even like, hope and motivation, having solutions. but in your book, you really focus a lot on like people bringing you down and like the times in which you didn't feel good enough and the struggles that you went through. And so she was able to show me the parts of my book that really shined and that like shined. Oh my! I need to get the Elements of Style book so that I can, really work on my grammar. And I really got, when I wrote that book, I was like, yes, I'm done. I wrote it. And then I proceeded for this whole last year to be editing that book. And I really got, I can't edit something that isn't what I want to go out in the world. So now in 2020, I am doing NaNoWriMo yet again. And there's 10 days left this November. So an average book, as I mentioned, has 50,000 words. So for me, if I were to start from scratch, that means 5,000 words a day. And when I've done sprints with my writing accountability partner, I've actually been able to write 1,000 words on average in a 25-minute sprint. So in 30 minutes, we have a 25-minute timer. Then we, touch base for 5 minutes, and then we would do another sprint. 30 minutes total, 25 minutes writing, focus, energy, just on writing, 5 minutes break. And we haven't done longer than a 30-minute sprint with 25 minutes writing, but in that time I can write 1,000 words. So if I spent at least 2.5 hours minimum a day from now until the end of the month, November 30th, so 10 days, and if I were able to keep that rate at the 1,000 words every 30 minutes, then I will reach my goal. What I've learned though from the first 2 times, because my first version was a lot of stream of consciousness. Last year's book was definitely, it has chapters, was chronological order, and it's kind of in the style of a memoir. But because I'm actually wanting to write a self-help memoir, the structure of the book actually has to be different. So I already have a 50,000 word rough draft from last year. So that's my version for me, and I am going to throw away a lot of it, but I'm going to pull the parts where the tone, the voice is in what I want. It has the clarity. And then, so this year, the version that I'm writing, this is for the reader. And that's what, writing a novel is all about. Like, no one cares about me. Like, no one wants to read my memoir. Like, I am not important. Nobody cares, not even like I don't want to swear. So it's like, no one cares about my journey, but really it's about me being focused on who is my audience. Like, who do I want to read my book? Who is the reader of my book? Just like I have books that I love. And in the next video, I'm going to show that some of the books that really have inspired me that honestly I'm modeling my book after, because it's what I absorbed, it's what I needed. And then now for me to basically, it's really like, who do I want to positively influence? And if I through everything that I've learned, especially in these last few years, but these last 10 years, if I could just help one person accelerate and learn from my mistakes over the past 10 years. So if I did some rough math, like I'm 32 now. So let's say if like my 21-year-old self, my 22-year-old self, where was I then? And like if I could go back and download like what I know now in like 21-year-old Jenney, then she can bypass all the mistakes I've made and more clearly take a path more clearly towards success. Not to say, like I think even if I downloaded like a 40-year-old knowledge into me right now, I'm still gonna make mistakes because I'm still me in this stage of my life. And at the same time, if I'm really listening, and I'm like really listening these days, if I'm really listening and paying attention, I really get that it doesn't have to be so hard. I can, it's what I'm doing right now. So I'm condensing my journey of these last 2 years of, the idea of me first becoming an author happened 2 years ago in 2018. And now I'm finalizing it and I'm putting it in these 10 days for NaNoWriMo, but then 30 days before January 1st, New Year's resolutions, right? But then my launch date, which is January 6th, which is my birthday, I'll be 33. And like, what better way for me to celebrate my 33rd birthday than these 35 days, vlogging it every single day and showing my journey to becoming a published author. January 6th is going to be my launch day. And for me, I think it's really about, regardless of where my book ends up by that date, January 6th, I'm going to just publish that day. And I hope that this process that I'm using right now, this accountability, sharing all of this, and then, my community supporting me really listening and following the blueprints of people who have already done what I've done, people who have already been successful with publishing their book. I, know several people that I hope to connect with, and maybe record and share like a live session of us. And however far I can get in 35 days, I will share about it. And also, that's the beauty of this self-publishing. I can do whatever I want. I can just publish it and celebrate, and I could take it back off if it's not, if it's not what I want it to be, for me to really go to the masses for it. It's partly for me, just for myself, to really follow through and accomplish this goal. I've accomplished a lot of goals in my life, and I'm so grateful for all those things I've accomplished. And I can see for me now, this is the building blocks for me to really focus at this time on my long-term career. And I have these, like, this 10,000 Miles to Clarity is the first book. Then I have 2,500 Miles to Freedom. And then I have a road trip that hasn't even been taken yet, but it's my journey to serenity, because that's what I'm currently living right now. So it's clarity, freedom, serenity. And then I already have another book that I know I want to write, and that's about, the suicide prevention work that I'm doing. I'm so passionate about that. Then there's things about mental health, there's things about family, there's things about healing, there's things about self-love, there's things about entrepreneurship, there's things about health, because health is wealth. And so there's like 15 books that are in my head. There's also children's books. I have 2 different children's books that I've already actually outlined, and I watched a lot of webinars to really understand what makes a children's book work. And they're the kinds of stories I wish that I read when I was younger, because there were certain incidences in my childhood that really, I just think about little Jenney, and I think about how she really had her dreams like shut down. And part of me is letting the little Jennies of the world know, like, you can be what you want to be. You can be as bold and as loud as you want to be. You don't have to be scared. You don't have to hide yourself. You don't have to close your mouth, and you don't have to zip it. Like, what you have to say is important, and that's a part of it, because I think young girls really need to be shown what, like, self-love and self-respect and just self-esteem really is, because our society has made many young girls fearful of sharing their voices. And like, I literally, my heart is beating so fast right now, because yeah, I made a video the other actually, it wasn't just weeks, it was 2 months ago, and it was about the limiting beliefs I had to overcome in order to even do this, and I can see I still hadn't overcome it. So now it's me actually sharing, like, in real time. I am scared of this. Like, even as I say that right now, I'm like, oh my gosh, no! Like, this is scary. Putting yourself out there and sharing your beliefs with the world, and then having people judge you and misunderstand you and really, like, maybe say negative things to you is confronting. So for me, though, I feel grateful that I am willing to take it head on and staying very crystal clear and focused. Why am I doing this? What am I doing it for? And just doing it because I really want to do it. First and foremost for myself, and then for all the the young, like the 21-year-old Jennies out there, the 11-year-old Jennies out there, the 6-year-old Jennies out there, and just really letting each of those young girls know that you have a beautiful story to tell, and let's keep it beautiful. Let's keep it uplifted. Let's keep it supported. Um, let's really be like warriors of light and love in this world, because that's truly what I believe. That's the story that I'm meant to be telling. So, as I was gonna be drinking this green smoothie throughout, but I'm glad I didn't, because I think that would have been so distracting. But mm, mm, I'm grateful that for the last 2 years now, I almost have a green smoothie every day, drinking lots of water every single day. I'm doing my miracle morning practice, my oracle card readings every single day, and exercising, being active, lifting up my spirits, being surrounded by positive people, and staying very focused and clear about what I can and cannot control in this world. And so thank you for joining me on day one of this journey. There are 34 days left to go. And I just really want to appreciate and acknowledge all of you who are here with me. I feel so grateful for all the people in my life, because my life is as rich as it is because of all of you who are here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for inspiring me. Thank you for allowing me to be in the receptivity of just your friendship and your love and your infinite wisdom and all that you have to offer in the world. So thank you all. Blessings to all. May you be well. May you continue to live in this life to your fullest, and live it with love and compassion and understanding and kindness and generosity and grace and ease. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next time, bye.